Okay, for the body, I've got a 14 millimeter tenon here already done, or turned down to, and I relieved the back a little bit for the back of the threads, and I'm using my floating point die holder here with a double start thread. And we'll just run that through real quick. And ebony threads so much better than acrylic. I don't even like acrylic anymore after using ebony. I mean, I have a lot of it, but I prefer the, not ebony, ebonite. And, oops, tighten that a little bit more on there. Backspin that out. And see how. Okay, now I haven't drilled out the middle of the body yet. It's easier to thread the outside here before you drill out the body, because otherwise this has a tendency to fracture on you. Okay, so on previous video we made the cap, and then we made the section, and this is the whole, basically the pin right here. We've got a Joe number 6 nib. Now we need to make the body, and we know this is the blank for the body right here, and that's going to go on like that. Now I've got a couple of lines here, some for waist and whatnot. Let me unscrew this. So this is going to go in here like this deep. Now, when this is in here, I want the back of this to unscrew so that when I fill this up using some ink, I don't have to pull this out of the pin. I can just unscrew the back of the pin like a cap. So I need to mark that appropriately. So that's why I need the section first. And I can have the length for the body. That's why I needed the length, the section done minus this, and the length of the filler system. So that is going to bring me to right about here. Oops. So here is the basic body of the pen, and then this will be the tail end of the pen. We'll make that part next. Okay, so this is the end where the section goes in, this part of the pen here. And you can see if we screw this in here, how much is going to be sticking out of the back. And this is going to recess about so far in. I've basically tapped and died it the same way as the section would be on the inside here on the reverse, just to keep it easy when I make this part. That way I don't have to buy any new tools. So this is going to recess 3/8 of an inch here on this. And you can see I've got a mark there for that, 3/8 of an inch roughly. And then that'll be the tenon that's going to go inside here like that. And then I'm going to drill it down just below this right here, probably about here, is what I'm going to be looking for. You can see that or not. So that when this is inside and recessed, that will be in there like that. It'll make sense later. Okay, so again, this part of the body has been drilled and tapped out. I'm just going to make the tail end for that. But the main thing we have to do now is to make sure that this lines up just like on a kit pen. So I want to make sure those lines line up. So I'm using the lines from the rubber on there as my lineup lines after I cut and make my threads. So from here, that's going to go in. I'm going to cut my tenon down and then tap and die that. I'm going to need to make sure that this is faced.
I read about the
Okay, there's the tenon there. So the next thing to do is we're going to put the die on that and cut the threads on the outside. Okay, that's tapped or died. The threads are cut. I just need to go in about an inch, so to that second line, and I'm using a 9/32 drill bit for that depth right there. Nice and slow so that doesn't get hot. And let me double check that first. Okay, so let's put this back in here, and I can see how deep that has to be sticking out. So let me do it like this. In order for this to go in, and that depth on the first line that you see here on the first line on the drill bit is how deep I need to go inside here. So that first line, I need to go about a 1/4 inch past that. Let me mark that. Okay, so now I need to go a little bit deeper. I need to go to this line here. And that's going to leave me about 1/8 of an inch on the bottom. So we'll just turn the rest of this down, and we'll see how this turns out. Okay, so this is the body right here in these two pieces from this point back. I need to make the body the diameter, what this is right here, just a little bit less than that, and that's going to be right there. And then I'm going to taper that down to a kind of a point like that. At least that's the plan. That's the basic shape of what I want. I'm just going to rough sand it to the final shape. Ebonite shows the scratches really easily, so you have to make sure you're going with the grain when you're wet sanding, and then also make sure your live tailstock is off because you don't want your hand running into that. And then it's just a long process of doing that through the grits. When it comes to the ebonite, although it's better to turn, I like it a lot more than the acrylics, but finishing it is not as easy as the acrylic, or wood for that matter, so it just takes more patience. So we'll come back to it when it's done. So here we are on the last one, and this mandrel, I leave this, I could screw it in all the way, but then I couldn't get all the way up against that edge, so I just unscrew that out about 1/8 of an inch or so, and then I just sand it like normal. That way I get a nice sort of a softer edge that fits nice and snug up against the cap. And just take your time with these, several minutes on each one. When it comes to the final polishing, you don't have to worry about going with the grain. There. It's a nice shine. Now we'll put it all together. Okay, so this is the body. That is done, and you can see how that unscrews. And if we put this in here, the section, you can see how much sticks out, so that's easily enough to get your fingers on that. So there's the lower pin of the body. And then we'll put the cap on, and so that is part 3.